Let's actually talk about MMA fights real quick. Do you think he gets the next title shot?
If your fifth round pick is better than your second round pick,
The movie Sinners with Michael B. Jordan.
a hundred man versus one gorilla.
This episode is brought to you by Sheath Underwear, the best underwear in the game. Like I always say, you can stop me at any time and ask me what underwear am I wearing, and it's always going to be Sheath. And if I'm not wearing Sheath, I will pay you $100 guaranteed. As a matter of fact, if you go to sheath.com, sheathunderwear.com, and you type in SWIFT for the promo code, you will get 25% off your total order. So make sure you do that. Grab the best underwear, get you guys feeling nice and safe, and thank me later.
All right, guys, welcome back. I know you guys haven't seen us in a couple of weeks. A lot has been going on, but there's a lot to talk about.
A lot. I'm excited about today because we got a lot of topics we're going to hit, a lot of things going on in the world.
Yeah.
But since we both MMA fighters, I'm retired, you current. Let's actually talk about MMA fights real quick, and then we can lead into the other stuff. Talk about the fights that happened last night: the Corey Sandhagen versus
Davidson Figueroa.
Yeah. What do you thought?
Well, oh man, what I thought about that fight. It kind of happened exactly how, I just felt like Corey Sandhagen, he was gonna get the finish. One of my friends, they hit me up. They was like sending me parlays and shit, and he was like, "What do you think?" And at first, he had Davison Figueroa, and I told him I was like, "Yeah, I got Corey Sandhagen," and he was like, "By what? By decision or KO?" I was like, "Probably TKO."
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, it was so weird because Davison Figueroa, he was just like living and dying on that knee bar, heel hook, like leg locks, and he, if you have two hands on one leg, you know what you should be doing.
Right.
Or what the other person should be doing. Should be punching the other guy in the face. Getting your weight down on one foot and starting landing blows. This ain't jiu-jitsu.
Right. It's kind of weird that he was going for the leg locks, considering one of Corey Sandhagen coaches is Ryan Hall, who's famous for the 50-50 leg locks attacks. So, like, was that the best route? Obviously not. So, I thought it was an easy win for Corey. Do you think he gets the next title shot?
I think so. I think because who did Corey's last fight was against Umar,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that was a pretty good fight. And let's see. I think when it comes to Sean O'Malley and Corey Sandhagen, they kind of both have the same body types, but I
Yeah.
think Sandhagen is a little bit better grappler.
Right. So, one, I do believe if Marab beats O'Malley, I think he's going to beat Sandhagen almost the same way. Hate to say that because I like Corey Sandhagen, but I think Marab's style, it kind of goes both with O'Malley and Sandhagen. But what I want to see is O'Malley versus Sandhagen. I think that's the fight that's going to take the bantamweight division to the next level. That's the hype fight. Marab, great, but he just got a style that's like, just one, is hard to beat, and two, it's sometimes hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, but who knows? Let's see if Sean O'Malley goes out there and you know gets his lick back.
Okay, let's talk about the Bo Nickel humble pie. Man, being a wrestler, it was kind of tough to watch.
Wait, why you say humble pie?
Because Bo Nickel was on this ride. He was talking about he want to fight Cosmod. He was talking about he wants to fight DDP, and you still haven't really broken to the top echelon of the middleweight division.
But then you get stuck in fighting, guys who you're better than, and guys that start like,
That's what you should do when you like 7-0. Your record. I get it.
But he jumped in the deep end like right away. Obviously because his wrestling pedigree. And like I said, if you fight guys that are like lower level than you, then you have people like, oh man, he's not legit. He's beating guys who aren't good and all that stuff like that.
So. But fight those guys, fight whoever. But don't talk like you the next greatest thing when you haven't proved that yet. I get it. In wrestling, you was a beast. You was a 3-time national champion. I fully understand this. But this is not wrestling. We got jiu-jitsu and we got strikes. Prove that a little bit more and his last couple fights have been a little bit not super impressive. So when you're talking like that, you got to back it up. And when he fought last night, he didn't look that good. And honestly, his wrestling didn't look that good.
Yeah, it looked like because RDR he wasn't scared to engage in the grappling department because he has a really good grappling background, and but it showed that when you have two good wrestlers, and obviously Bo Nickel is the better wrestler, but when we're talking about MMA wrestling, it's
Yeah,
totally different. When you have two good MMA wrestlers, and that I feel like the wrestling just canceled out, and RDR he just shot that knee to the body, boom. Well, really, he was just it was a grueling pace.
right. You take out the body, you take out the man.
Hmm.
Audio, I'm excited to see him fight in the middleweight division. I think he's a good addition to that division. We needed that.
What he said, what he called for? He called for Sean Strickland next.
I would like to see him fight anybody, but Sean Strickland, that's a good fight. Moving on to Daniel Rodriguez, he knocked out uh, yeah,
Ponzinibbio.
Santiago. Uh, Good knockout. We can move on for that. Um,
So
th-
that's it.
right. Montel Jackson versus Dan. You know what? That fight was crazy to me because I thought I was shocked to see that Daniel had such a hard time with the wrestling and getting really good takedowns and even setting up his strikes. He looked a little bit timid, and I understand Montel got that long length and he was catching them, but to be 17-0, he didn't look like he was 17-0.
I just don't think he's fighting anybody with that type of athleticism and length
Mm-hmm.
to go with that athleticism. So I feel like he was having troubles with maybe closing the range and also just dealing with somebody who may be a little bit more athletic than who he, fought in the past.
Right. But and Montel Jackson, so I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna give this away. I'm really, really shocked that he hasn't been like dude couldn't catch him. Because every time the Daniel Marcus dropped down, like he was faking a shot, Montel Jackson's hand dropped down.
Mm.
And I was like, if he'd
Yeah,
if
he
he'd have
did.
dropped down and came over with that over right hand at the right range,
That's the corner. That's
yeah.
that's what the corner should have been telling him. I wonder what his cornerman was telling him. That's something that you had three cornermen. One of them got to say it. One of them.
But I could tell that's something. I mean, what is he now? 15-2. So that's 17 fights. I could tell that's something, especially with amateur fights and training and sparring. That's something he has done over and over and over. Is going to be hard to fix. Like when he's and
Well, I'm not talking about Jackson. I'm talking about his opponent.
his opponent to like capitalize on it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
His
yeah,
cornerman should have been like, "Hey, fake the shot, come over the top."
yeah. All right. So moving on to Cameron Smotherman. Mm, um, he looked. I thought he looked good with the striking. I thought he looked bad for MMA.
Yeah, I
And,
like I said, I just think he has a hard time to implementing some of the other things that happen in MMA, like the kickboxing, the
mm,
wrestling. Like he's not able to mix it up. Like we know that you have good hands, you have some cool knockouts, but the number one thing that Smotherman has, faced throughout his career is like always being taken down.
yeah,
So he only works on like from what I've seen in his fights, it only seems like he has good boxing and then he's working on takedown defense
mm,
because he's not shooting any doubles.
no,
He's not kicking a lot,
no.
so he's not
And it's like he's not going for knees. It's just basically his over right hand, and
just
I
one
just
dimensional.
right. So I mean, and Cameron Smotherman is someone we knew very well. He fought one of our guys. You called him out. You was like 2-0 as a pro, and you called him out in Fury FC, and we was hoping to get that fight.
I'm trying to climb my way to the top, and if I see somebody who I know that I can beat that's like a little bit higher than me, I'm like shit.
But also the thing about Cameron Smotherman is like in a lot of ways he kind of resemble you. Y'all like resemble each other.
No, no.
like
Why? Because we both black, huh?
right, because you both black. Anyways, nah, because you the height, your skin tone. Yes, part of it because you both
Yeah,
black.
skin
Well,
tones,
but it's also your look, the haircut. Yeah, y'all do resemble each other.
the
Uh,
haircut, man.
yeah,
I
I'm telling you, y'all do resemble each other. But
I can't say. Everybody say I look like somebody.
yeah,
Like I've had people say I look like the Whale Maker.
Oh, because you're part Asian.
Yeah, like I'm like, man, I just look like everybody, and everybody look like me.
Mm. And the last one we talk about is Jeremy Stevens versus Mason Jones, which I
That was a fun fight to watch. I
I
mean,
thought that should have been fight of the night. I was shocked it didn't get fight of the night. Like Jeremy Stevens and Mason, man, they put on a banger for the first 2 rounds. Then the last round, my man Mason was like, you know what, I need to take this guy down and show him like I could dominate him on wrestling and maybe not get caught with a the haymaker.
yeah, I mean, I think Jeremy Stevenson, like, he looked, he looked good, and he has a jaw. I mean, because he was getting cracked with some shots. I'm like, damn.
Yeah,
But
they both was.
yeah, they both were.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, that was a fun card last night, and then obviously we had boxing this whole weekend.
yeah.
So
It's been like a terrible boxing because like the week before, you had Ben versus Eubank Jr. and that was I didn't watch that fight live, but I went back and I rewatched the full fight and I was like, damn,
I didn't want
that was like they were fighting,
really.
they were fighting, they were slugging, and I finally understood and I understood why people were saying that this was probably one of the best boxing matches in the history
Wow.
of boxing. Like
Never had that.
it was that good. I was like, damn,
No, I need to go back and watch it.
yeah.
But boxing is not looking too good. I know we got the Japanese kid fighting today. I'm not too sure what time, but hopefully he can save the weekend. But on Friday we had Lopez, Garcia, and Haney, all really good fights, but semi boring.
The only one, I mean, the Timo Fimo fight was probably the best one
Yeah,
because he actually like he looked like he wanted to prove something.
yeah. I
And
mean
then also
the role, yeah,
Rolly, and then
yeah.
Rolly, he looked really good, and I think that's probably the reason why like people are kind of upset because Rolly was counted out.
Yeah, but also the Haney fight, man, he caught a lot of flack. That kind of really stunk up the night. Now you had such a big. I feel like you got a bunch of boxers who more worried about social media presence than actually performing. They're more worried about showing like certain lifestyles. They talking like they the greatest, but they're not going in the ring and putting everything on the line
I
as
think,
much as they
yeah,
talking.
I think Haney, I think he just it's so crazy because he fought so scared.
Mm.
And it's not like the guy that he fought had power. It's not like the guy that he fought had speed. Like the dude wasn't cutting off the ring at all. So Haney was just just bouncing back and forth. A jab, couple of lead hooks, and that was it. And I think like a lot of these boxers, they're so afraid on, you know, erasing that zero that they have.
Yeah, but it's funny. It's funny you said that because we all know that Haney is not really undefeated. He's undefeated, but not really. He's undefeated with an asterisk sign because in all actuality, he did lose to Ryan Garcia. Although Ryan Garcia got popped for PEDs, uh, but I do understand how you would come back from a fight like that and feel so much pressure to want to perform that you actually really underperformed.
And here's the funny part. So Ryan Garcia, he was out for a year, obviously being suspended.
Yeah.
But so is Devin Haney.
Well, neither one of them look good.
Yeah,
So ring rust is a thing.
like they were both like I don't know why. I mean, I don't know why Devin Haney was out for a whole year.
Yeah.
But that's boxing. That's kind of why I just can't like when people talk to me about boxing. I'd be like, ah.
Now the Canelo fight too.
I was watching that fight while I was watching the UFC fights, and I was just like, I fell asleep during the Devin Haney fight. But yeah, I actually did. I was like, I
Yeah,
was sitting
yeah,
on the beanbag and I was just dozing off. But
yeah.
the Canelo fight, I was like, who the hell is William Skull? That's one. I
Mm.
don't know. You got. I'm happy that they finally announced the Terrence Crawford fight, because I mean, at this point, that's the only fight that I see that makes sense to make for Canelo. Like,
I mean,
I mean, maybe David Benavidez.
yeah, I was gonna say him, but the weird thing about the Terrence Crawford versus Canelo is that when Terrence Crawford came into the ring, he looked bigger than Canelo. Now I get it; he probably had some shoes on, some sneakers on, to give him an inch or two extra lift, and
Wait, who looked bigger?
Terrence Crawford, he was definitely taller.
Oh yeah, he's definitely
Yeah,
taller.
yeah, but he looked like thicker than Canelo. Like it made me think like this is going to be an even fight. Because you look at Terrence Crawford and he fought at the lower weight classes, it was like, all right, Canelo's too big. But watching them side to side, it made it look like, okay, this could be an even fight. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for that. September 12th. It's weird how they put these fights so far out, but I guess someone like Canelo, he only gonna fight twice a year. They
Yeah.
gotta space that out. But that's gonna be huge,
I feel
huge.
like and I feel like with the Canelo fight with William Skull, that's probably his biggest payday.
Right. I mean,
It's like the only thing I gotta do is just not get knocked out.
yeah, I wonder because the fight was kind of boring, and I guess you could blame it a little bit on William, like kind of running a little bit. But I wonder when it comes to Canelo, he was like, I just got to beat this guy just to get the real payday. So
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna like go above and beyond this on stupid
But not
and
only
get caught.
that, but same thing with William Skull. Like I said, like he didn't all he had. This is his biggest payday, I'm
Mm.
sure. And all he has to do is just get out of there without getting hurt.
Well, that
Yeah,
was boxing. Boxing was kind of boring this weekend. But we do got some really. They got the Canelo fight to look forward to. So excited about that. All right, let's move on
yeah.
to the next thing, to the Shador. Now, we are late to this topic. I get it. Shador Sanders. Everybody knows what happened. He got drafted in the 5th round. There's a lot of controversy that comes with that.
He got drafted in the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns, and to the Browns for the Browns that they already
Have
draft. They already one. They already have a quarterback.
yeah.
Deshaun Watson, who they signed. They just recently gave him a new contract, and I think that his guaranteed pay is 230.
Mm.
And so boom, they got him. Then they traded. Then they got Kenny Pickett from the Steelers, and Kenny Pickett, he's also this is probably his second year in the league,
Mm.
maybe second or third year. So Kenny Pickett. Then they had Joe Flacco, vet. And then they drafted Gabriel. I can't remember his last
Yeah,
name.
but Gabriel, they drafted him before they drafted
Yeah,
Shador.
for Sheduer, and then they finally got Sheduer. So it's like,
Ooh, it's a
cause
tough
then, cause then,
task.
cause then on top of that, so before we get into I just want to give out the whole lookout, the whole layout. So you draft Sheduer, and say for some reason, even if Sheduer is given the starting position, you just gave you drafted a guy in the 3rd round or
Mm.
the second one of the two. You drafted a quarterback in the earlier rounds. And now you're starting Shador. So that means that you wasted your draft pick on somebody who you could have, maybe got somebody a little
Do you even think they would start Shador?
yeah, but exactly. I don't think so.
Right.
Cause then all right, cool. Say he beats out, the guy that they drafted earlier. All right, that's a waste of a second pick. Say Shador gets the starting position. Now you just wasted 230 mil on Deshaun
Deshaun Watson.
Watson.
Yeah.
It's like it just doesn't make it didn't even though Shador got drafted, his circumstances does not. I mean, for Cleveland Browns circumstances doesn't make sense to me. I don't.
So, do you think he got drafted? Do you think they're gonna this? He still have a path to success, Shador, or do you think he's gonna be riding the bench and this is gonna really hurt his career, especially starting out?
I think he's gonna be on the bench. He's gonna
Mm.
be on the bench. There's no way that you draft
He's
a
too far. He's too far down the line. You talking about 4 or 5 different
yeah.
quarterbacks?
And then after that, if your 5th round pick is better than your 2nd round pick and the guy that you paid all this money for, it's like, damn, we just wasted money and a pick that you could have probably got, maybe another running back, a
Mm.
different wide receiver or something like that. So I don't know. It just didn't make sense.
Okay, so tell me, how do you feel about the whole 5th round draft pick? That whole sequence, how that played out? Because me and you, we was talking about like the 1st round. We was having a little fun. Like, damn, he didn't get picked up in the 1st round. They get him in the 2nd round,
Yeah,
and then after we came back to the gym like the next day, find out he didn't get picked that round.
yeah.
Like how do you feel about that whole sequence?
I really think that they were just trying to hone down on Shador to let him know that he's not bigger than the system.
Right, right.
That's really what it came down to. Because there's no way that Shador Sanders, somebody who obviously his father is Deion Sanders, but he's not just using his father's name to, to success.
He has talent.
Yeah, he has talent. He went down. He played his first year of college or first few years of college at a HBCU at Jackson State.
Right.
Won a national championship there. Boom. Then he transferred. His dad got the coaching job at Boulder. Obviously he followed his dad. He went to a Boulder team that was 1-9,
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't winning any of the other years. They were irrelevant. Boom, comes in the first year, you know, started off hot. They probably didn't, but they had more. I think they ended off with like 4 or 5 wins. That shows improvement.
Right.
That's already improvement right there. Then boom, the next year you guys come back and have an even better year and make it to a bowl game. And not only that, you have Travis Hunter. Like they changed the culture at Boulder and was rated as the number 2 best quarterback going into the draft.
Right.
So how does the number 2 ranked quarterback in the draft drop that far down?
So I check this out. Actually, here's a question for you. Do you think like the whole Deion Sanders aura kind of played a factor into like they dropping out? Because actually, let me kind of reword that question. Do you think that Shador made it tougher for him? Like some of the things he was saying in the conference, he didn't do the Columbine. Do you think that like his actions made it worse?
Nah, I don't think his actions made it worse. I really just think that they was just hating on him, and they were just trying to prove a point that, like I said, you're not bigger than the system.
Well,
Cause
then
yeah, cause
that means
obviously
that means he did kind of like made it a little bit
I,
difficult if they
I
had to prove something to
yeah,
him.
I guess so. But I mean, even if he didn't go to the Columbine, that don't really matter because you have your pro days, and pro days are sometimes better than Columbine. So it doesn't to me that part doesn't matter. I know that they were talking about how he interviewed with some of the teams, but it just comes down to they said that they take his confidence as being cocky.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so crazy because you had guys like Baker Mayfield or Johnny Manziel in that same boat as like cockiness. And this is a kid who didn't get in any trouble,
Right.
had good grades. This is always on top of it, a team leader. Whereas you got guys like Johnny Manziel getting suspended, getting caught smoking weed, out going to parties, getting
Mm.
drunk, and same thing, almost the same thing with Baker Mayfield. Just out there being wild, getting arrested, and it's like,
Or even you have an overbearing father that's super popular, like the Manning brothers, and how their father said a bunch of things and made sure that his sons, went to the teams that he wanted. Like he played such an active role, like Deion
yeah,
Sanders. Now here's another question, man. Just kind of hear from someone who actually watches football. I don't watch football, but do you think race played a part in it because of the fact that like you see how just like you said, we got these white quarterbacks who's just as cocky and do a lot of uh, off the field antics compared to this guy who was squeaky clean, but he did have a sense of cockiness to him. But like he gets judged in a whole different way than some of these white quarterbacks. You got to
um,
say to yourself, is that part of it?
I I really do want to say it's not, but it's kind of hard to say that, you know, race didn't play a part. Because, just like what I said, these other quarterbacks who kind of have that same mindset that were a different skin tone, they still get picked up first round
Hmm.
for damn near like the first pick or whatnot. I know Johnny Manziel got picked the first pick.
Right.
So it's like, it's I
I,
don't know.
I I would say yeah, race played a part, and I'm gonna explain why. Right, because sometimes it don't even play a part with the owners and the coaches. It play a part with like public opinion because when you have those other quarterbacks being just as cocky and being wild and crazy off the field, people still love them. People like it because you gotta admit this is white America. So they could get away with it, and because they could get away with it, other coaches and team owners they're like, we can still make good money off these kids because it's more acceptable compared to when you have a black kid and you got You got people like, oh man, those guys are always acting so cocky. They're always
Yeah.
acting this and acting like that, and then it kind of turns off the viewers.
And
So sometimes the
yeah.
coaches and the owners be like, I'm gonna stay away from that guy because it's going to hurt my bottom line.
Now here's the thing: is that the Cleveland Browns viewership is already gonna go up just because Shedeur Sanders is on the team,
Right.
because people are gonna want to see him play,
hmm
and it's like
And then it's like his jerseys got sold the most. Like his jersey, like I read somewhere like
I didn't see that.
yeah, this Sanders jersey kind of blew up. I
I
mean,
wouldn't be surprised.
yeah, I was shocked to see him drop down to the fifth round. Like I said, I don't really watch football that much, but just hearing how everybody has talked about him collectively speaking, all the football,
Guys, gurus.
gurus, they all talk about like he was gonna be the next guy. I mean, he should have been the 1 and 2 when it comes to the quarterback. To see him drop so low is like it was more to that than just his skills. Yeah, could have been his attitude. Could have been his father. I think it's a lot of factors, but I
I
do
just
think
don't.
him being black was a factor.
Yeah, people talk about his attitude. I just don't know what about his attitude that was like made people want to not, or made these GMs or head coaches not want to draft him. He said that he wants to, go to an organization that wants to, you know, he wants to change an organization.
Yeah,
Like, how do you not want a quarterback, a young quarterback that's being drafted? How do you not want them? Like, that's what they're supposed to say. Like,
right.
I want to go to a team that really wants me, and I want a team, and I want to be on a team to
And
where
make a
I can,
difference.
yeah, and make a difference. Like, I mean, shit. I mean, what was he supposed to say? Nah, I just want to go into the league and just be a backup, just be a good role player. Like, no, you the quarterback.
Right, right.
You're not no role player, especially somebody like Shedeur Sanders. Like your name in itself doesn't even, you can't even be a role player with a last name like Sanders when your dad is Dion.
Well, I tell you what, this action really did send a message, and it'd be interesting to see how things happen going forward. Like for the next year draft, if people are going to change their style, it's almost like definitely not going to emulate Shador. You're not going to have the fancy chain. You're not going to walk with that swagger. You're going to more get in line as they want you to be, and also. How is Shador going to play in the NFL? Like if he gets playing time,
Well, we're gonna see him in the preseason, that's for sure.
okay.
We'll see him in the preseason and see how he looks.
I'm betting on the brother, man. I really am because Deion Sanders, back in the day, he was the man, and to see his father and son,
Yeah,
to be successful, it's really awesome to see. And I think we kind of need to see that, especially in the black community. We need more of that. So
yeah,
I'm praying for him.
yeah.
All right, football. So we're gonna move on to the next hot football topic. Unk, Shannon Sharp. Man, what to say about that? The big you got something to say before I
Nah,
start
nah, nah,
rambling
nah.
because I
You
got a
go.
lot to say
Yeah,
about it.
nah, nah. You go. You start. You go.
All right. First and foremost, I'm gonna say a thing about Shannon Sharp is that he was completely stupid. Now I don't know if he did any sexual assault or we could say scratch that out essay because I guess you can't say that on YouTube or anything like that. But what I will say that he was completely stupid. First and foremost, as a 54-year-old man, when you met that girl, you should not be dating and mess around with a 19-year-old. And then I heard this. I heard he stepped to her and asked her to sign a NDA, and she wouldn't do it. And like that right there shouldn't be like, wait, you 19 and won't sign this? Like I don't trust you. You too young and you too crazy. Like I feel like
And for
something
the
wild
people,
gonna happen.
and for the people at home that don't know what an NDA is, what is an NDA?
Well, basically, when you sign an NDA, it should be saying like you cannot talk about certain things. It's like a non-disclosure agreement, right? So when you sign an NDA, like say for instance, me and you got something going on, I have you sign one. That means whatever have you signed about, you cannot talk about that in the public. If you do, I could come back and sue you, and it could be a lot of bad things that will happen to you.
Mm.
So as someone who's like a celebrity or a high figure, you want to keep some of your life personal. So you have people sign NDAs. If not, then people could talk about whatever y'all do, and you don't want your business out there.
Yeah.
So to be messing around and be doing a lot of crazy kinky stuff with someone, you definitely want them to sign an NDA. And he did it. and now he's facing some horrible charges. I will also add this. Um, as a football player, you already have this like persona. Like there's a lot of football players that get in trouble for like domestic violence. So me as being a big black football player, I just would not play with that with any woman because they already assumed that. So I feel like Shannon Sharp, I think his career is done. Honestly, I don't see how you come back from this.
I don't think his career is done. I do want to, because he hasn't been what's the word I'm looking for? Because he's been charged with. Has he been charged?
He hasn't been charged, but he has been
Like what's the word?
accused,
Accused. Yes.
allegations.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
allegations.
yeah,
There we
yeah.
go. So nothing has really been like, you know, sentence or anything like that. So I would like to see what happens in the end game, after the whole court dates and everything, and see how that plays out. But I still think Shannon Sharp, you know, fortunately he does have a good yeah,
Podcast.
good podcast, with the nightcap and Club Shay Shay. Like even I watch him.
Yeah,
So I think, but I do see like him being on First Take or
yeah.
ESPN.
That's never gonna happen
Yeah,
because
he already had. That was his second role, or not third. No, that was probably like his third time trying to being on ESPN or First Take, and
yeah, but check this out. So the reason why is like I say that his career is done, and I'm talking about career as far as like being on something like ESPN, being on something
a
like
sports analyst.
yeah, like a really big show, is the fact that when the details come out about about the stuff he's been doing with this girl, even if it was consensual, it's just not gonna be a good look to have someone like that on TV. Because like they got that videotape that he even mentioned himself, and if that comes out, which it will come out in the court case, you can't look at this guy anymore if you see him on tape doing his thing and choking out this little girl. After that, like you just can't see him again. And the fact that he was willing to pay her upwards to $10 million, that shows how bad that tape was. That shows how bad this situation was.
Jeez,
Not saying
yeah,
he's guilty, but just saying that he didn't want that bit of information
it's
out
already
there.
like a bad look. Yeah,
I tell you, man, hey, shit, man, I got some tapes out there. If it came out, I'd be done too, man. So like, I understand. That's why you shouldn't be recording yourself doing wild crap. But actually, I think let me take that back. I think he didn't know he was being recorded.
yeah.
But either
So
way,
that does that go against his? I don't know. What does that? What does that do if somebody records you that you didn't want to be recording?
um,
That got to be some, right?
well, I think that you can't release it because that's like revenge porn. However, if you're using it as evidence for a court case, then it can come out.
Yeah.
And then obviously it's going to be leaked, and then everybody's going to see you handling your business in the bedroom, which is also kind of weird. We don't want to see it, and then you being extremely aggressive,
Yeah.
maybe even violent.
But yeah, that's so funny because like I said, like Shannon Sharp, he's already had like he accidentally went live while he was getting busy.
Right.
Like man, Michelle, good old sweet Michelle.
And because of that video is a reason why the girl that he's having like issues with, because she thought they was in some exclusive relationship, and then that video came out, and she was like, "Whoa, whoa, I thought you was like my man. You supposed to put your big black baby in me."
I'd have been like, no, you are a OnlyFans girl. Like,
Right.
what you think?
I believe at that point, that's when he realized, like, yo, this girl is actually thinking we a thing,
Yeah.
and he started to pull back, and then she was like, okay, well, if you want to play games, we can all play games. I got stuff on you. Like I'm saying right now, Shannon Sharp is in a place like I don't want to see any brother in, but if you're gonna put yourself in that position, then it's kind of like your fault. He
Yeah.
could have made a lot of better decisions. One, don't date no 19-year-old girl.
Now, how do you feel about like I told you the other week, like Bill Belichick,
Mm,
he's 73 and his girlfriend is 24.
right. That's just as bad, but I don't see Bill doing wild, crazy stuff like choking out. I don't know. He may be into some wild, crazy, kinky stuff. I think all this stuff. You know what I think, man? I think when you get to that level of like money and fame and power, the regular stuff does not give you the same that same high. You need to like to do a little extra stuff because like okay,
I'm chill. Obviously,
I'm I'm
you.
Puff Daddy.
That's
Okay, I can get any girl in the world. So like me getting a hot chick and going to bed is like that's boring. So I'm gonna do some wild crazy stuff, throw some wild crazy parties, and do stuff that may be considered immoral, and in some ways maybe even illegal, depending on how far
shit.
you're gonna go with it.
That's like Conor McGregor shit.
Right, because I think what happens, it may start out with like I'm gonna push the boundaries, I'm gonna push the limits, and then I think some of these rich people don't know when to stop. They don't know when to say, "Hey, you know what? This is too much. I know we all having fun, and I got the power and the money to beat whatever case." They don't know when to stop, and they start really hurting people, and then things like this come out.
Yeah, that yeah, man.
So I I pray for the brother, but it's now looking good. I think at best he's gonna probably do the Club Shay Shay and
You know, just keep building up his YouTube. But
yeah,
I
the
mean,
nightcaps.
he's
But
gonna be taking some heat though.
yeah,
Especially, you know, if he does get convicted, then it's like,
well, not convicted because that's the other piece. I don't understand why no one is not talking about this. If he allegedly assaulted this woman, why is this not a legal case? Why is it just a civil case?
that's another. Yeah, that is. Yeah,
But because like because this would have happened a year, 2 years ago, right? Relatively recent. And if he did physically assault this woman, why is this not being tried in a legal case where he actually could be facing some jail time? He actually could be charged. Now he's just being sued for money. So
yeah. We know why. We all know why.
it's money.
Money is power.
All right. So those are the two semi-negative stories. You know, the Sheduer situation, the Shannon Sharp situation. Let's talk about something positive.
Yeah,
Okay, let's talk about Sinners. The movie Sinners with Michael B. Jordan.
man, that was a beautiful movie. Like when I sit here and because I love music. I love all genres of music. So that was the number one thing that caught my attention is the blues. And Sinners, the movie, was based around the blues, and the blues was, you know, back in the day was devil's music. So you know, you sing the blues, and they would always say like, you know, the devil is gonna be coming around.
Right. It-
So the devil in that movie was supposed to be vampires, which is why they showed up when they heard the kids sing. In which the actress, his name is Mile Ken, who's that was his first gig.
yeah, the first big
Yeah,
movie.
yeah, that was his first big movie. But he's also, you know, watching the movie. I'm always skeptical if the person can actually sing.
Yeah.
And yeah, he can actually sing, and he
Was
actually
that really him singing?
hell yeah.
And I mean, I
Yeah,
sometimes it,
that was actually him
yeah.
singing, and that was and he can actually play the guitar too.
Wow, wow, wow. That's super dope. So just talking about the movie itself, right? If you could take away all the symbolisms and all the meanings and all that stuff, I just sat back and watched a good ass movie that had action, had drama, I had like a thriller. It even like so I took my girlfriend to the movies and like I didn't tell her what the movie was about. She just knew it was Michael B. Jordan, and she like, he's really sexy now, which is annoying as hell. But anyways, she had no idea it was a vampire movie, so she watching, and like something crazy happened, she just jumped, and to see her reaction, it was kind of funny, but like it was just such a really good movie to sit back and watch, and to be
Yeah.
a horror film, like I don't really watch horror films either, but
Hmm.
it really was good.
Yeah, and I think Michael B. Jordan, that was like for him to play twins. I thought that was really dope because he was able to give us two different characters that look the same, but you get a different feel from each one.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
Smoke and Stack. You know, one is, you know, the more talkative, jokey type of brother, and then the other one is like, yo, I'm serious. Like we can't be giving out no handouts. You know, I'm all about my money.
yeah,
Like we can't be playing. We gonna go broke.
yeah.
So it's like I like those two different characters that he was able to play, and he was able to give us a different feel for each one.
Yeah, so the one piece that I didn't really catch until like I had to rewatch it is that if you saw the beginning of the movie, how spoiler alert, how I can't remember Smoke or Stack. Which one was the crazy one? You know? Anyway, the crazy one, he was making a cigarette for his brother.
Yeah.
And At the end of the movie, when his brother was like, we all thought he was dead, and the good brother, well, not the good brother, but the leader brother, he actually couldn't make the cigarette, and I didn't realize like what was happening because so it was showing how
Yeah.
connected it was, and how they needed each other.
Oh damn! I didn't catch that. I didn't
Yeah,
catch that.
yeah,
Yeah. Cause you know, at the end of the movie when he was getting
yeah,
prepared,
yeah. He like
he
he could
didn't
have
he
he
didn't
threw
know.
it away. He couldn't
Yeah.
make the cigarette.
I thought he just did that cause
He had an adrenaline dump.
adrenaline.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nah. Like his brother was the one that made the cigarettes for him.
Damn.
Right.
That's why in the movie, even when he was when they were talking about how they can't be giving out, you know, free handouts or taking the wooden nickels.
Yeah.
He was like, man, he was mad. He was like, man, I need a cigarette. And his brother, he was like, one coming right up.
Right. Right. Yeah. See. Yeah. Right.
I didn't even think of that.
So one of the things I took away from the movie that I thought was so beautiful, it was the love aspect. Everybody had a love of something, like the okay. I hate to say good or bad brother. Um, the more mature brother, his love was to his woman that he actually had a tragedy with, and but you can see how sometimes tragedy could affect a loving relationship. They lost a child, which I
Yeah,
think kind of separate them a little bit. His brother, he loved the white girl, but like at that time you couldn't be dating a white girl, so like I love you but I can't be with you because it's not safe for you or me.
yeah,
Okay, and then you got Miles who had the love of the music, and then you had but also he found himself a girl, so he had new love.
the preacher boy.
Yeah, he had new love. He saw a girl like, damn, she gotta fly. So he had the new love, and then even like you had love of addiction, because the piano player, like he was addicted to alcohol.
Yeah,
You had love of sin. Everybody had sex, like everybody was
yeah,
having sex. You had love of hatred with the KKK people.
and even the Asian family.
Yeah, the Asian family,
Had a,
love of family because the Asian woman lost her husband and so she went crazy. You
and her
had
daughter.
yeah, and then the daughter, so you have love of family. You also have a love of sin because really all of them was living in sin if you think about it.
Yeah, because they're all dancing to the blues.
Yeah, to the blues and having sex and drinking and just living a life that if you are a Christian, it was going against Christian values.
Yeah,
So, and then you have like the love of fear and control, and that was the vampires. Like they scared the hell out of you, and they wanted to control you. So I just love how he used the concept of love in so many different aspects in the movie.
yeah, yeah. It was just it was a great movie to watch, and I even watched it twice. And my favorite part, there was two parts of the movie that I liked. When the old man was talking about how one of his friends, because he used to be in he said he used to be in a group, and he said that one of his other friends or one of the band members took the money and hopped on the train, and then he got ran down by some white guys, and
Mm.
they kind of made a story. And they were sitting in the car, and that's
Yeah,
when Michael B. Jordan was like, "You got that guitar?" I was like, "I like that," because I watched the interviews, and they said that was a improv.
yeah, it was improv. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it wasn't in the
and,
script.
and it was almost cut out the movie.
Yeah,
And the guy that played the piano, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he made sure to talk to Ryan Coogler
yeah,
to like keep that in the movie because that was such a powerful moment.
yeah. It was, it
Uh,
was.
and
He said, He's all right. I like that.
my favorite part was obviously at the end, with the old guy in the bar and he was drinking and God, I wish I could like decipher between smoke or stack, but they showed up and there was still vampires and it was still young. And the old guy asked him like, have you ever been happy or when was the last time you was happy? I can't remember the exact
He
question.
said, what did he say? He was like, before he asked him before all of that, all the crazy stuff happened. He said like, did you have a good night or something like that,
Yeah,
some to that extent,
yeah,
or do you ever think about that night before everything happened, or something to that?
yeah. And he was like, yeah, he was like, it was the last time he was happy. Like if you think about that, like I mean, it's probably like 70 years past, something like that, 50, 70 years. I think it was 50 years actually, and that was the last time you could remember being happy because he had his brother, he had his family, and he was still alive. So you got all this power. You could live forever, like and you're still not happy. That kind of goes back to like you could have all this money, but if you don't have the right people around you, you will still not be happy.
Yeah.
So sometimes you could sell your soul for like to make money or to get the fame, but it doesn't still make you happy. And sometimes you could be completely broke, like the old guy. Like I won't say he was broke, but he had his music.
He had that guitar, man. He had that guitar.
Yeah, and that's all he needed, to be happy. But I think that was such a powerful, powerful moment.
Yeah, that was definitely movie of the year so far.
I'm hoping to win some Oscars, man. And but I also hope that they don't do a sequel.
Why is that?
Uh, this movie like that, man. The only way to do a sequel, you have to almost go back and kind of chop up some of the like the scenes because the one brother died, so you no longer have the twin aspect, which was such a really cool aspect of the movie. You got the mature leader brother, you got the wild younger brother, and how they complement and supplement each other. Like that was a big part of the movie, right? And then you had the old vampire, which I thought he played a damn good vampire. Like he
Yeah,
was cool and scary.
yeah,
So like to kind of replicate that, it's gonna be very very tough. So I
yeah,
hopefully they can let that movie like just die and be a great movie and not screw it up.
yeah. I agree. Yeah, yeah. That I didn't even think about that in that aspect.
Yeah. Okay. Last piece here.
Woo!
Last piece here. We ran it down. Uh, let's talk about your career, man. Okay.
I retired.
So as a coach, as a father slash manager, and I get paid for almost none of it. Uh, um, we look at on who you can fight, and there's a lot of big names out there. There's a lot of names, and I kind of feel like they can give us someone we don't know, right? But like the three names that keep come across our desk is Talbot.
Who?
Is that his name? Talbot? Is it Talbot?
Talbot. Talbot. Peyton Talbot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Peyton Talbot, Malcolm Wellmaker, and Raul
Roja.
Oaz.
Yeah.
Right? Out of those three guys, which one would you like to fight first?
Uh, I think Peyton Talbot would be the fan favorite fight.
Right.
That would be the one that everybody would want to see. Um, then I would say it would probably go Peyton one, Malcolm Wellmaker two, and then Rahul Rojas three. And yeah, either one of them. I mean, I like all their game, and I just think that that'd be an exciting fight for fight fans, and to really go out there and test myself against these younger talent just like me. Because I mean, I feel like most of my career I've been fighting guys who are like
Older,
older,
right?
in
And
their
well more established in their career,
yeah,
if not the tail end of their career.
yeah, exactly. So I would like to, see how I stack against somebody, around somewhere around my same youth, my same age.
Although actually,
Malcolm is, I mean,
yeah,
Malcolm
right,
Wellmaker,
Malcolm,
he's 30,
yeah,
but still young up and coming prospect as well. Sometimes I actually didn't know he was that old. I thought he was because he looks younger.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I feel like a lot of these guys like we kind of have like the same build. Um, but I feel like I beat all three of them.
I love that.
I mean,
I love that. I love that. I was suspecting that. From my viewpoint on this, okay, because you can break it down to each individual fighter, right? And once again, we could fight any other person in the bantamweight division. Those three names keep getting tossed to us from like fans and whatnot.
yeah,
Um, I believe Hoas. I believe that would be a very interesting fight, and I would say, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but I will almost say like that would be the fight that I think would be the easiest. And I only say that because a little bit of MMA math, I understand it doesn't work because y'all fought the same person.
yeah,
And the level of success you had against Vince Morales co- compared to his success, I feel like you had more success. although y'all dealt with this almost the same danger. But the striking wise, you was beating Vince on the striking, and Vince was beating Hoas on the striking.
Yeah.
So I felt like grappling, y'all could be relatively even, but I think you definitely have the advantage on the striking. So just
Yeah.
doing MMA math, and we haven't really studied him that much. I would say Hoas would be the easiest fight. Not saying he's easy, but easiest out the other two. Now,
Damn, for real, I would say probably. I would think, to be honest, maybe Wellmaker would probably be the easiest one.
I just haven't seen enough from Wellmaker
True.
to really say. I just know, obviously he's a power puncher, and the problem with with Wellmaker is that he wants to fight June 14th. We want to fight June 7th.
They gonna give us June 14th.
Right. And I don't want to fight Wellmaker in his backyard in ATL. If we fight him, I want to fight him in Vegas. I don't want to go to Atlanta.
Shit, I always been fighting people in their backyards.
Y-
You know, fighting for Fury. You know, I've always fought people in their
Yeah.
backyards. It's like
But it's a little different
nobody
with
wants to come to our backyard though.
yeah, they don't want to come to Colorado. They don't want that elevation. But the
Yeah,
problem is Wellmaker got so much hype and he's such a big name right now. Like fight him in his backyard just will be annoying.
that's why I feel like it'd be more exciting.
I do think it would be a bigger win. You know what I'm saying? If you go out there and beat this guy in his backyard, and he's the hottest ticket right now in the bantamweight division as far as up and comers,
Yeah,
that would put us in the next level. That's huge. Um, and the only reason why I said that I don't think he's the easiest is because he do got one punch knockout power compared to the other two.
yeah,
And one punch could change a fight. Someone who got one punch knockout power is always dangerous. So that threat is something we will have to address and take that away from him. Now Talbot, I just felt like he's a little bit tough because he could take damage. So he's annoying
yeah,
and he just kind of walk forward. But I don't think he's like tricky or sometimes I feel like he could be almost a little bit stagnant and he believes too much in his toughness.
yeah. I believe that too.
So for me, Hoas, then maybe Talbot, and then Wellmaker. Only because Wellmaker is like he's in a place and date that we just don't want. We want to fight June 7th in New Jersey. Come on, Dana White. Come on, Sean Shelby. Like, let's give us an opportunity to fight in our backyard.
Yeah, man, I'm trying to go put on another show. I'm trying to go get that, that bonus. I've been seeing everybody getting bonuses. I'm like, man, that's something I need to get.
Yeah. It's frustrating to watch someone who has fought after you and already got another fight lined up.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of guys, but I mean, I always been a big advocate on, everybody's on a different time, different rhythm, so it is what it is. I'm not stressing myself out. I just know that already in my mind, I'm already gearing up like I have a fight in June.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm at right now, and even if that's not the case, then it is what it is. At least I'm, when I do get the call, I'm already more than ready to go out there and shit. If I gotta come on short notice again, fuck it. We ball. We did it once, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely gearing up for June 7th, so we training hard, and we're gonna keep pushing forward and be smart with our training, and make sure whoever the UFC give us, we're gonna beat because we got to go 2-0. We got to go 2-0, and I
I
understand,
gotta get that money.
right,
That money on.
and also now that people are starting to get to know you, they're gonna start game planning for you, and we're gonna come out with some new tricks. So
Yeah.
stay tuned. We got some really cool stuff coming out, and I can't wait to see you perform again.
Hopefully we get the call, sooner than later. But yeah. Last question though. But and this is something that's been going around probably the last 2 weeks or so.
Oh yeah, I was like, what question? But now I
Yeah,
remember.
a hundred man versus one gorilla,
It's funny because I feel like you and I sit on the separate sides of the.
which is so crazy. I don't know why you think that. I don't know why you think one gorilla would take out 100 men.
I don't think one gorilla would take out 100 men. I think I think one gorilla would take out 20 men in the 80 and the rest of the 80 is going to run. If we talking about average Joes,
No,
we're
I'm
not.
not talking about average Joes. Like
What are you talking
average,
about?
I'm talking about
Like 100
athletic.
warriors?
No, 100. A 100 athletic men from
No, no, no,
from
no.
from from
That's not
from.
that's not the
No, no,
question.
no,
The
not
question
not
is a
even from.
hundred a hundred men. Actually, and
Even
honestly,
if no, fuck it. Even if it is just 100 men.
yeah,
Oh well, I think 100 men, even if they're untrained, that gorilla is gonna get tired.
tired. Yes,
You
once
got
again,
you got you got 50 men that can possibly range from 150 pounds to maybe 260 pounds.
yeah.
That's a lot of damn weight you're probably gonna that gorilla. They say how much a gorilla weighs is like 400 something like that around that range. But you got 50 or 100 grown ass men whose weight, when you put it all together,
What
like,
about what about if we give the gorillas rounds? We give them a break. All right, man, you got a 30-minute break. We get back into it.
well then nah, that nah.
I'm gonna say this once again. It's not about like 100 men. It's about after seeing someone skull get crushed by a
Ain't gonna
gorilla.
crush.
I like
Have you seen a gorilla fight?
and
Have you seen a gorilla
yeah.
fight? Have you seen a
Yeah,
gorilla?
I've seen gorilla fight another gorilla, but I've never seen a gorilla fight a
Yeah,
human.
see, exactly. Gorilla, they kind of like slap each other. Like they don't throw like straight punches,
Yeah,
hooks. They not fighting like they don't have technique. They might just like grab you and like drag you. That's probably and they obviously they have some big canines, so
yeah,
they'll bite you.
yeah.
Um, but other than that, you getting grabbed and getting dragged. That's probably the worst of it. But you're not gonna go in there. A gorilla is not gonna go in there and throw a straight right, a straight two
If you
three.
get one big gorilla, I'm not talking one of those small ass gorillas. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
so a
That's
silverback.
been in the zoo and whatnot. You get aggressive gorilla who's fighting for his life. He understands the threat against 100 men, 100 avid Joes. Once again, the first
Yeah,
10,
you got
20
you got
guys.
you got average Joes out here who are athletic and they work
Just imagine
they work at Wendy's or something like that.
100 Derricks, 100 cameramen, our cameraman Derricks.
Yeah,
You think 100 Derricks? No offense, Derrick, I love you.
Derek isn't the biggest.
Yeah, you think 100 Derricks is going to take out a gorilla?
Yeah, with strategy. Yeah, you can't just go. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't just go out there. You can't just go out there and just
That's
wild
not.
out.
Man, hold on. That's not.
It gotta be 10 coming from it gotta be 20 coming from the
Nah,
front,
nah, nah.
20
I
coming
don't
from the
think it's
back,
fair.
20 coming from the
I
you
don't think it's fair to be having strategies and all. Like you already got 100. Like I think it should just like y'all just you got to fight. You got to go.
Yeah, you all go at once. That shit don't make sense, man, because the gorilla is gonna get tired. He's gonna be having a gorilla don't know how to manage his energy. All he knows is throwing power, straight power the whole time. How long you think that's gonna last before he
He
dies
doesn't
out?
need to last long. He just need to kill the first 10, and the rest of the 90 can be like, man, I don't know about this. Like this is stupid.
Man,
Because even if you survive it, you probably lost the arm, or you got a concussion, or he bit you in your ribs or something like. No. The first 10 is gonna be destroyed, and the rest of them is like you know what? I got better things to do with my life.
damn, man.
Okay, well then the question is, where would you be at?
I'll be in that 50 range.
See, that's that bullshit. Like if you
But
if
we
you
all go,
so
but we all going at the same time, so it doesn't even matter where I'm at, right?
if you if you if
You
you
said
if
there's
you
no.
so confident, you should be leading the charge.
I will. I'll be like, yo, I juke the shit out of a gorilla.
Okay, all
Like
right.
I'll be like, yo, I'm gonna stand right over here. I'm gonna play around with him.
And we forgetting this too. Everybody thinking like the gorilla is just gonna be standing there, just boxing everybody. Man, the gorilla is gonna be swinging from the trees. He's gonna be doing
No, he's
flips
not.
and rolls.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah,
A
he's gonna
gorilla
be.
does not.
You think he's right
A
in front of
gorilla
you?
does not swing from
Yeah,
trees.
yeah,
That's 400 pounds on one vine.
yeah, he's
It's
gonna be
not gonna
doing
work.
backflips over you. He's gonna be behind you. Like this gorilla, he's not an average gorilla. He's like a ninja gorilla.
Every single man that's saying that 100 man can't take out one gorilla, scared.
Scared. That's
Yeah,
crazy.
y'all can't label yourselves as man. Y'all can't label yourselves as protectors.
That's crazy.
Y'all can't.
Yeah.
I can't hear that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's
Y'all
crazy.
not fighters that saying that one gorilla could take out 100 men. Y'all not real fighters.
And every
Y'all not real
man,
warriors.
And every man is saying like 100 men can take out a gorilla, right? Is completely cocky and arrogant and don't understand the threat.
No, they
Okay.
listen. We understand the threat, but it's 100. We understand that it's gonna take some sacrifice.
Right. Are you willing to be one of them?
Shoot, I mean, I don't mean to bring up, hard times, but there's people out there that, back then, World War II that were on that front line where they knew they was getting off that boat and they were gonna get killed.
Right. I mean, that's a fair assessment. I mean, that's a fair thing to say. Um, uh, so you saying you will be one of them?
I didn't say that.
Okay, then. I see. Like you're gonna be the guy
But
that's gonna
they,
see the first two or three get killed, and you be like, "Nah, I'm staying back." And then you gonna stay back. Then your homie will like, "You ain't going?
no,
I
I'll
ain't
be
going
like,
either." Like, and
nah.
that's gonna start tricking.
See, I didn't say I wouldn't go. I just said that you put the people that want to be that are willing to sacrifice their lives, you put them up in the front because they understand. Once they understand, like, okay, I gotta, this is where my story ends. Once they're okay with that, they sacrifice their lives for the win.
I guess it depends on what we're fighting for. Like, let's say if you got 100 guys and everybody like we just fighting just to prove a point, or
Man,
as
we
a
better,
like,
man, we
uh,
better, we better hope that
uh,
gorillas don't, they don't turn into the Planet of the Ape gorillas. Because if that's the case, then yeah, we all done. Because y'all not, y'all don't want to stand up to a gorilla, man. 100 of us.
but see, like in real life, we don't have to because we got guns, right? So we putting this in a situation where it's like
Man.
we going
Now if
hand to
y'all
hand.
said now if y'all said something like a hippo, I would be like, damn, now we kind of fucked there. Uh,
That's the next one. Hey,
100
can
men.
can 100 men take out a hippo?
Nah, that'd be the one I'm like, nah, no,
Or you
we
think a
ain't.
hippo just run through everybody like bull
Bro,
charge?
yeah,
Like
just stomping on everybody, bulldozing. They have that bulldozing effect. Like they can literally just bulldoze, 100 men.
all right, leave in the comments.
And how fast? How fast is a hippo? How fast can a hippo run?
Hippo kills a lot of humans actually year to year. Yeah, how many humans?
Yeah, a hippo can run up to 20. It says 19 to 28 miles per hour, somewhere around that range. And how big a hippo is, probably like a ton.
Yes.
How heavy is a goddamn hippo?
How
Yeah,
fast?
oh yeah, they could. It says male hippos can range from 3,500 pounds to 9,900 pounds. So or
Oh,
9,900 pounds.
so you don't think like as a hippo's running by, a couple guys would jump on their back and
Nah, cause one,
a couple guys would take out a leg because the problem,
you gonna get stomped.
yeah, because the problem with a hippo is like the hippo only got a horn, so like the problem with or like
Hippo
with
don't got a horn, man. That's a rhino. Come on, man. Know
uh,
your animals.
damn. I, all right,
He
that's fair.
said,
That's fair. 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 I could have switched that. Then I think a rhino's a bigger problem than a hippo. And then
well,
I'm thinking rhino. You're right. I'm thinking rhino. Like, what the hell is a hippo gonna do?
oh, a hippo? What is a hippo gonna do? A hippo is probably the most dangerous. Like you said, it kills the most.
Yeah,
Kills is the animal that kills the most humans
yeah,
a
because
year.
because people think hippos are nice and cuddly, and they
Who
freaking
thinks
big.
that?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Like you go to like the zoo. Like, oh, look at a hippo. You don't think a hippo is like threatening
Nah, hell no.
compared
You
to a
see how
rhino
big
who
their
has a
you see
freaking horn.
you see how big their mouth is and their teeth is sharp. Obviously they're huge. Not only that, but they're agile in the water, so they could swim. They swim faster they're faster in water than they are on land. But I mean, shit. To be, when there's a difference between a gorilla that's around 400 pounds compared to a hippo that can range from either 3,000 pounds to 9,000 pounds.
Right. I mean, there's obviously a size difference.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, and they're super. They were. I think hippos are way more aggressive than gorillas. Because gorillas, obviously, I've seen videos in the wild of these National Geographic guys. They're getting all up close to gorillas and everything, and they're not do that to a hippo. Get close to a hippo. Mess around in their territory and see how fast they on your ass.
That's crazy. Anyways, leave in the comments if you think that 100 men cannot or can defeat a hippo, which is a weird ass question, but like,
A hippo, yeah.
yeah, let's talk about
Nah,
that.
a hippo, nah, the hippo got it.
All right,
But that
man.
goes to show also how fragile humans are, man. We are very fragile
Right.
things because we just are. That's just how we're made. Um, damn. Yeah, we can't even. You shoot a hippo with a 22.
Right.
Probably one of a
Is it, is it,
a small bullet. He'll eat that shit.
yeah, it's like us getting a little bit of a like a hangnail. Like
Yeah,
it's nothing to them.
but you shoot a human with a 22. There's a chance a high chance that we die.
But that's actually part of the reason why we evolved so much as far as being intellectual compared to like a hippo who just really kind of live off and survive off their size.
Yeah.
So we all have our strengths and
Or shit,
weaknesses.
try an elephant. God damn it. Nah, elephant. That's a different. That's
Jesus Christ, how you go from a gorilla to a hippo,
because the elephant,
elephant?
man. Because I'm thinking like, what animal out there can't a hundred men take on? And I'm thinking like, we could take on a gorilla, but we can't take on an angry ass hippo, and we definitely ain't taking on no angry ass elephant. Elephant will really stomp your ass out, and then their trunk, they're super strong. They'll grab you with their trunk, and really, that's when you really get tossed. That's when you really get tossed.
Mm.
Like, yeah,
I
nah.
just think like when it comes to a gorilla, it's more agile than obviously a hippo or elephant or even a rhino,
But the
and
thing is, I feel like they're
they're
able to.
faster. They're super agile.
Oh man, yeah, they're agile, but they're more. I feel like it's easier to deal with the gorilla because they're a little bit more human-esque.
Right.
So I mean, it just the ball game is different. Whereas an
It's so
elephant,
funny how this topic got you going. Like this, how you're like, yo, I'm gonna argue this to the day I die.
yeah, no, because
That
it don't make
uh,
any sense. I'd be like,
uh,
why do y'all sit here and think like 100 men? I think because I feel like if we brought out 100 people, 100 men, we will really be able to see like how much 100 men is. Like how like that's a lot of people
right.
for one gorilla. For one shit.
And well, I tell you what, that's gonna be one of the questions we never gonna get an answer to. So
No,
we
I
would.
am. I already hit up Cheyenne Mountain Zoo and they said, yeah, just come through. They said we got about like 2 gorillas.
All right. Well, you on your own. I ain't helping. All right. All right, guys. Man, that's all we got, man. That's all we
Nah,
got. That was a lot of fun. We hit a lot of topics, so we appreciate it.
yeah. Nah, I appreciate you. And yeah, that concludes our episode of Belt to Ass.
The good, the bad, the ugly. Let's talk about it.